Ladies and gentlemen, have you ever stopped to listen to the way you talk to yourself? We all have an inner dialogue, but how many times do we actually pause and think about what it sounds like? We often underestimate the power of self-talk. The words we say to ourselves shape our perception of who we are and what we are capable of achieving. We are our own loudest critics, yet we have the power to be our own biggest supporters. The reality is that your inner voice is one of the most important conversations you'll ever have. It influences your mood, your actions, and even your beliefs about yourself. For most people, the inner voice isn't always positive. It's full of doubts, fears, and negativity. But what if you could change that? What if you could start talking to yourself in a way that nurtures and empowers you? Our inner voice holds more influence over our lives than we realize. Think about it for a moment. You hear your own thoughts more than you hear anyone else's. The words that play in your mind are the soundtrack of your life. They shape how you view yourself and how you approach the world. If you constantly tell yourself that you are not good enough, not capable, or not worthy, then that is the reality you will start to believe. Your inner dialogue becomes your self-fulfilling prophecy, but what if you could flip that narrative? Imagine waking up every day and telling yourself that you are enough, that you have what it takes to succeed, that you deserve happiness, success, and all the good things life has to offer. When you speak to yourself like this, you are programming your mind for success. You are creating a mental environment where you feel empowered and ready to take on whatever comes your way. Your thoughts are not just fleeting ideas, they have real power. They influence your emotions, your decisions, and your actions. If your thoughts are filled with negativity, you will feel drained and demotivated. But if your thoughts are filled with positivity and encouragement, you will feel energized and motivated. This is why it's so important to be mindful of the way you talk to yourself. If you want to achieve anything in life, whether it's personal growth, career success, or simply peace of mind, it starts with how you speak to yourself. Positive self-talk builds confidence and resilience. It helps you bounce back from failure and keeps you moving forward, no matter what obstacles you face. When you consistently tell yourself that you are capable, strong, and worthy, you start to believe it. And when you believe in yourself, you start to take action that aligns with your goals and dreams. The first step in changing your life is changing your inner dialogue. Start by paying attention to the thoughts that come up throughout the day. Are they kind and encouraging, or are they harsh and critical? When you catch yourself thinking negatively, pause and replace those thoughts with something positive. For example, if you think, "I can't do this," replace it with, "I am capable, and I will find a way." This simple shift in mindset can make all the difference. It's not just about being positive for the sake of it. It's about empowering yourself to take charge of your life. The way you talk to yourself affects how you show up in the world. If you believe in yourself, you will take risks, pursue opportunities, and push through challenges with a sense of confidence. But if you doubt yourself, you will hold back, settle for less, and miss out on the life you deserve. The beauty of this practice is that it is entirely within your control. You get to decide how you talk to yourself. And if you commit to changing your inner dialogue, you will see a profound shift in your life. Your thoughts are the foundation of your reality. So, make sure they are serving you, not holding you back. Remember, this change won't happen overnight. But if you stick with it day after day, you will begin to see the results. Your self-talk will become a powerful tool that helps you unlock your full potential. It all starts with the words you choose to say to yourself. Choose wisely and watch your life transform. Changing the way we talk to ourselves isn't just about saying nice things. It's about intentionally replacing the negative, self-limiting thoughts with powerful, positive affirmations. Negative self-talk often sneaks into our minds without us even realizing it. We all have those moments when we tell ourselves things like, I can't do this, I'm not good enough, or I'll never succeed. These thoughts are not only untrue, but they also hold us back from realizing our true potential. When you replace negative self-talk with positive affirmations, you begin to shift your mindset. Positive affirmations are statements that reinforce a sense of self, worth, confidence, and capability. They remind you of who you are at your core, not who you think you are when you're facing a difficult situation. This practice isn't about pretending to be perfect, but rather about acknowledging that you are worthy of success, happiness, and growth. By consistently practicing positive affirmations, you create an environment where you see challenges as opportunities rather than threats. Let's start with the basics. Think about the common phrases you say to yourself. I'm not smart enough, I'll never be as good as them, or I always fail. These are common, but they are also dangerous. Each time you repeat them, you reinforce those beliefs and limit your potential. But what if instead of saying, I can't, you said, I can learn? What if instead of thinking, I'm not good enough, you reminded yourself, I am worthy, I am capable, and I am constantly improving? Just this small shift can begin to rewire your brain. The goal here is to replace the negativity with statements that empower you. Every time you find yourself thinking negatively, take a moment to pause and replace those thoughts with something positive. This process may seem small, but over time it creates a massive shift in how you view yourself. The more you practice it, the more natural it becomes. Eventually, instead of the automatic negative thoughts, your brain will start offering positive, empowering messages. A great place to start is by creating a list of positive affirmations that resonate with you. These affirmations should be personal and reflective of your goals, dreams, and values. For example, you might start with affirmations like, I am worthy of love and success, I am strong enough to overcome any obstacle, or I believe in my abilities. The key is to make them meaningful and believable. If you're struggling with believing the affirmation at first, keep saying it. Your mind may not immediately believe it, but as you continue, it will begin to accept these thoughts as truth. It's important to remember that positive affirmations work best when practiced consistently. The process of replacing negative self-talk isn't something that happens once and is done. It's an ongoing practice. The more you repeat these affirmations, the more they become ingrained in your subconscious mind. Over time, they'll begin to shape your beliefs and influence your actions. What you say to yourself today will shape who you become tomorrow. Now, it's essential to know that affirmations alone won't create results. While they are powerful, they need to be backed up by action. For example, if you're telling yourself that you are confident and capable, you need to back that up by taking actions that align with that belief. If you're saying, I am successful, you must put yourself in situations where success is achievable. Affirmations give you the mindset, but action is what brings results. The combination of both is what leads to growth. Another important point is that affirmations should be specific, clear, and in the present tense. Instead of saying, I want to be successful, say, I am successful and capable of achieving my goals. By phrasing them this way, you're training your mind to focus on your current abilities, not your future aspirations. You are not waiting to be successful, you are claiming it now. If you struggle with finding the right affirmations, start by focusing on your strengths. Think about what you're proud of. Is it your resilience, your creativity, your ability to stay calm under pressure? Identify these traits and affirm them. Saying something like, I am resilient in the face of challenges, can be more powerful than generic affirmations that feel disconnected from who you are. Remember that the journey toward replacing negative self-talk with positive affirmations takes time. You might find yourself slipping back into old patterns of thought. That's okay. The goal isn't perfection, it's progress. Every time you catch yourself being negative, take a deep breath and correct it. Be gentle with yourself. This process is about creating a new habit, and just like any habit, it takes time and patience to develop. By replacing negative thoughts with positive affirmations, you're not only changing the way you talk to yourself, but also transforming the way you interact with the world. Your internal dialogue will begin to align with your actions, and your actions will create the results you desire. It's a powerful cycle that begins with the words you say to yourself. Consistency is the key to making any meaningful change in life, and this is especially true when it comes to changing the way you talk to yourself. Most of us are accustomed to certain thought patterns, and breaking free from these old habits requires consistent effort and practice. When you decide to adopt positive self-talk, it is not enough to do it just once or twice and hope for a quick transformation. The real change happens when you make it a daily practice. This is why committing to 21 days of positive self-talk is so powerful. It allows your new way of thinking to become ingrained in your daily routine. Consistency helps to rewire the brain. Just as repetitive negative thoughts can create mental blocks and self-doubt, consistent positive thoughts help to break down those barriers and build new, empowering pathways in the brain. By focusing on positive self-talk every day, you gradually replace the automatic negative thoughts that may have once controlled your mind. This shift doesn't happen overnight, but with daily practice, you begin to notice changes in how you perceive yourself and your abilities. It becomes easier to recognize your strengths, to acknowledge your accomplishments, and to believe in your potential. In the beginning, it can feel unnatural, even awkward. We're so used to criticizing ourselves and focusing on our flaws that the idea of being kind and compassionate toward ourselves can feel strange. However, as with any new habit, the more you practice it, the more natural it becomes. It might take a few days or even weeks, but soon you'll find that positive self-talk is something you do automatically without having to think twice. The process is like building a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. In the beginning, it might be weak and difficult, but over time, it will become a natural and integral part of who you are. When you commit to practicing positive self-talk consistently, you begin to build resilience. Life can be tough, and we all face challenges, setbacks, and moments of doubt. During these times, the words you say to yourself have the power to make a huge difference in how you navigate through adversity. Positive self-talk can serve as your anchor, reminding you that you are capable, strong, and deserving of success. Instead of being overwhelmed by negative emotions or self-doubt, you can tap into the strength of your inner voice, reassuring yourself that you can overcome whatever comes your way. This daily practice also helps to foster a growth mindset. When you consistently tell yourself that you are capable of learning and growing, you begin to embrace challenges as opportunities rather than obstacles. Every mistake or setback becomes a chance to learn, rather than a reason to give up or feel discouraged. Consistency in your positive self-talk strengthens your belief in your ability to grow, adapt, and improve. With this mindset, you'll find that challenges don't seem as intimidating, and failure no longer feels like a defeat, but rather a stepping stone to success. The beauty of consistency is that it creates a ripple effect. As you begin to change the way you talk to yourself, you'll notice that your overall outlook on life starts to shift. When you feel good about yourself, you naturally begin to attract positive experiences and opportunities. Your confidence and energy radiate outward, and you start to believe that good things are possible. This shift in mindset can improve your relationships, your work, and even your health. When you consistently affirm your worth and potential, you start to take actions that align with those beliefs, which ultimately lead to greater success and fulfillment. It's important to remember that consistency doesn't mean perfection. There will be days when you slip back into old habits of negative thinking, and that's okay. The goal is not to be perfect, but to keep showing up, to keep practicing. When you notice yourself falling into old patterns, simply acknowledge it without judgment and gently guide yourself back to the positive thoughts you want to cultivate. Self-compassion is part of this consistency. It's about being kind to yourself when things aren't going perfectly and continuing to move forward even when it feels hard. It's not about how many days you practice positive self-talk, but how those daily practices transform you in the long run. By committing to 21 days of positive self-talk, you are planting the seeds for a healthier, more confident, and more resilient mindset. Consistency in this practice will lead to lasting change, helping you to build a strong, positive relationship with yourself that will serve you in all areas of your life. It is the small daily actions that create the most profound transformation. Change always feels uncomfortable, especially when we're trying to break old habits and build new ones. The act of shifting our thoughts and beliefs is no different. When we decide to challenge our negative self-talk and replace it with positive affirmations, it's like stepping into new territory. At first, it can feel strange, even forced. We're so used to thinking and speaking negatively about ourselves that the idea of doing the opposite feels foreign. But just like any other change in life, it's important to understand that discomfort is a natural part of the process. It's not a sign of failure, but rather a signal that growth is happening. In the beginning, it's common to feel resistance. Negative self-talk has been a lifelong companion for many of us, and it can feel like a comfortable old sweater, one that you've worn for years even though it no longer serves you. This self-criticism has likely been reinforced by years of habit, societal pressures, and past experiences. Changing this ingrained pattern takes time, patience, and practice, but with consistency, the discomfort begins to fade, and the positive self-talk starts to feel more natural. The discomfort can manifest in many ways. At first, you might feel like you're lying to yourself when you say positive affirmations. Your mind may push back thinking, how can I say I'm confident when I don't feel confident? Or why should I say I'm worthy when I feel like I've failed so many times? These doubts are normal and they are part of the challenge, but the more you push through that discomfort, the more you begin to see the value in positive self-talk. What was once awkward becomes a habit, and slowly, you start to believe in the affirmations you're telling yourself. The discomfort doesn't disappear entirely, but it lessens as you continue to practice. The discomfort can also arise from a fear of vulnerability. For many, being kind to themselves feels like an unfamiliar experience. We're taught from a young age to be self-critical and to hold ourselves to high standards. We often mistake self-compassion for weakness, thinking that if we are too kind to ourselves, we might stop striving for improvement. However, being kind to yourself isn't about avoiding growth or striving for excellence. It's about giving yourself the space to be human. It's about accepting that you will make mistakes and that you deserve kindness even when you do. Practicing positive self-talk helps you become your own ally rather than your own adversary, which ironically gives you more energy and motivation to continue growing and improving. As you continue practicing positive self-talk, you might also face moments of doubt and fear. You might question whether this shift in your thinking is really making a difference. It's important to remember that progress isn't always linear. There will be days when you feel like you're on top of the world, and other days when your old patterns of thought creep back in. These moments of doubt don't mean you're failing. They are simply part of the process of breaking old habits and forming new ones. What matters is that you keep going even when it feels difficult or uncomfortable. It's helpful to remind yourself that discomfort doesn't last forever. Just like the initial awkwardness of practicing a new habit, the discomfort of positive self-talk eventually gives way to a more positive mindset. As you continue to replace negative thoughts with affirmations, you'll begin to notice a shift in how you view yourself. The discomfort will transform into a sense of empowerment. You will begin to see yourself in a more compassionate light, and the positive thoughts will start to feel like the truth. The process will no longer feel like something you have to force. It will feel like a natural and integral part of who you are. One of the key aspects of embracing discomfort is learning how to be patient with yourself. Change takes time, and it's easy to become frustrated when we don't see immediate results. But the truth is, lasting change happens slowly and steadily. It's in the small, consistent actions that we begin to see the most profound transformation. So when you feel that discomfort rising, remind yourself that it's not a sign to stop, but a sign to keep going. You are breaking free from old patterns, and this discomfort is part of your growth. It's an invitation to lean into the process. Trust in yourself, and know that you are becoming a stronger, more confident version of who you are meant to be. Remember, discomfort is a sign of change, and change is the key to growth. The more you embrace the discomfort, the more you will learn about yourself and your true potential. Being kind to yourself builds confidence and peace of mind in ways that few other practices can. We are often our own harshest critics, focusing on our flaws and mistakes instead of celebrating our strengths and accomplishments. This tendency to be self-critical not only erodes our confidence, but also creates unnecessary stress and anxiety. By choosing to be kinder to ourselves, we can begin to heal those wounds of self-doubt and cultivate a mindset of self-compassion that empowers us to thrive. When you speak to yourself with kindness, you are actively choosing to recognize your worth, regardless of the challenges or setbacks you face. It's easy to believe that our worth is tied to our achievements or how well we perform, but true self-worth comes from the understanding that we are valuable simply because we exist. Every person has intrinsic value, and when we acknowledge that about ourselves, we begin to see ourselves through a more compassionate and positive lens. Confidence isn't about being perfect or flawless. It's about being comfortable with who you are, even with all your imperfections. When you treat yourself with kindness, you stop demanding perfection from yourself. Instead, you embrace your human qualities, the good, the bad, and the in-between. By doing so, you create space for growth, learning, and self-improvement. You begin to see challenges not as threats, but as opportunities to grow and improve. This shift in mindset fosters confidence because you know that you are capable of handling whatever comes your way, even if it doesn't go perfectly. Being kind to yourself also helps to reduce stress and anxiety. When you are constantly criticizing yourself, your mind becomes overwhelmed with negativity. This not only affects your mental state, but also takes a toll on your physical health. Stress, anxiety, and self-criticism are linked to a variety of health problems, including sleep disturbances, digestive issues, and weakened immune function. But when you choose kindness and positive self-talk, you create a calming effect on your mind and body. Your nervous system can relax, and you can approach life with a clearer, more focused mindset. This reduces the impact of stress and helps you maintain a sense of peace even in difficult situations. The beauty of kindness is that it has a ripple effect. When you start being kind to yourself, you begin to treat others with more compassion as well. This isn't about being perfect or overly accommodating to others. It's about recognizing the humanity in yourself and others. When you are kind to yourself, you stop holding yourself to impossible standards, and this perspective naturally extends to how you treat those around you. You begin to see others through a lens of empathy and understanding, rather than judgment or criticism. This creates stronger, more supportive relationships, which in turn further boosts your confidence and peace of mind. Another powerful aspect of being kind to yourself is the impact it has on your self-talk. Negative self-talk is a major contributor to a lack of confidence and peace of mind. It feeds into your insecurities, making you feel like you're not enough or that you'll never achieve your goals. But when you replace those negative thoughts with affirmations of kindness, encouragement, and acceptance, your perspective shifts. Instead of focusing on what you lack, you begin to focus on what you have and what you can do. This change in mindset not only builds confidence but also creates a sense of inner peace, because you are no longer at war with yourself. Being kind to yourself also strengthens your resilience. Life is full of challenges, and it's easy to feel defeated when things don't go as planned. But when you approach setbacks with kindness, you give yourself the grace to fail, learn, and try again. You understand that failure is not a reflection of your worth, but simply a part of the process. This resilience, built on self-compassion, helps you bounce back from setbacks with greater strength and determination. You don't let mistakes define you because you know they are just stepping stones toward success. Lastly, kindness to yourself encourages self-reflection and growth. When you are kind, you open the door to honest self-reflection, where you can acknowledge your flaws without judgment. This allows you to identify areas for improvement and set meaningful goals for personal development. By being kind to yourself, you create a nurturing environment that encourages growth and positive change. You are more likely to take the steps necessary to improve yourself because you understand that self-growth comes from a place of compassion, not criticism. In the end, the kindness you show to yourself is one of the most powerful tools you have for building confidence and peace of mind. It creates a foundation of self-love that allows you to thrive both personally and professionally. By choosing kindness over criticism, you unlock your true potential and set yourself up for lasting success and happiness. Negative self-talk keeps you stuck in a cycle of self-doubt and fear. It holds you back from achieving your goals, from seeing your own potential, and from making the progress you deserve. When you constantly tell yourself that you're not good enough, not capable, or not worthy, you create a mental barrier that prevents you from taking action. Negative thoughts breed more negative thoughts, and before you know it, you're trapped in a loop that is difficult to break. The longer you stay in this cycle, the more you begin to believe that it's the truth. This is why it's so important to recognize and address negative self-talk. Left unchecked, it can become a self-fulfilling prophecy. For example, if you constantly tell yourself that you're not good enough for a promotion, or that you'll never succeed in a new project, your mind starts to accept that as fact. You might not take the risks you need to take, or you might not put in the effort because you're already convinced that you'll fail. Your actions then align with your beliefs, and because you don't put in the necessary work or effort, you reinforce the very thing you feared, failure. When you believe that negative self-talk is true, it becomes harder to move forward. It's as if you're carrying an invisible weight around, one that limits your potential and keeps you from growing. Every time you try to take a step forward, the negative thoughts pull you back. You might think, what's the point? I'm just going to mess up anyway. Or, I don't have the skills or talent to succeed. These thoughts are limiting beliefs